Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming this evening for the April 24th, 2019 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting for the town of Merrimack. If you could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
The next zoning board meeting will be May, last day of May, sorry, apologize. May 27th, 2019, no, sorry, May 29th, 2019 will be the next zoning board meeting. If anybody plans on speaking tonight, could you please stand to be sworn in? Preamble, I'll get to it. Anybody plan on speaking? If you plan on speaking at all tonight, please stand, raise your right hand. You swear the whole, tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. Rich, if you have the preamble.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will proceed with the petitions in the order they are listed on the agenda unless the board deems it appropriate to take a petition out of order. State law and local ordinances set out the criteria that must be met in order for this board to grant a request. The minimum requirements are outlined in the form provided by the Community Development Office, and the petitioner should proceed with this format to provide adequate justification for the board to grant the request. The chair will then open the meeting to hear testimony either for or against the request. All discussion will be between the speaker and the board. Please be respectful of all, and in the interest of time, refrain from repeating previous testimony. No new documentation will be accepted by the board for consideration this evening, but the board reserves the right to ask for additional testimony at any time. After hearing the facts from all parties regarding a petition, the chairman will close the public hearing, and the board will deliberate and vote on the request before moving on to the next petition. Please turn off all cell phones or pagers if you have them.
Thank you very much, Rich. Tonight, when you come down, make sure that the green light, there is a green button on there. Make sure the green light is lit, and make sure bright, and please sign in and state your name. I'm going to call the first petition, and then I believe staff has something that they're going to speak on behalf of this petition. Excuse me, the first petition. Pam and Carl Bellamonte, petitioners request a rehearing regarding case number 2019-03, in which the board granted variances under section 3.02 of the zoning ordinance to permit a two-lot subdivision with a one lot having 90 feet of frontage, whereas 250 feet is required, and having 61,160 square feet of continuous non-wetland area, whereas 100,000 square feet is required. The parcel is located at 85 Woodward Road in the R1 Residential by Map, Aquifer Conservation, and Flood Hazard Conservation Districts, Tax Map 7A, Lot 007, case number 2019-08. This item is a continued discussion from the March 27th meeting, as we did not have a full board for a full vote. Kelly in Community Development also has something to add regarding this petition. Kelly?
Yep, thanks. So as the board may recall, 2 variances were granted on February 27th in regards to 85 Woodward Road under section 3.02 of the zoning ordinance to permit a 2-lot subdivision with one lot having 90 feet of frontage, whereas 250 feet is required, and then having 61,160 square feet of contiguous non-wetland area, whereas 100,000 square feet is required. When the petitioners presented their case to the ZBA, they utilized an exhibit plan illustrating a potential subdivided layout for the lots. The plan also assumed the limits of the wetlands because the petitioners did not want to go through with a formal survey until they at least knew that they had the variances in hand. When the ZBA granted these variances, the petitioners then moved forward with the survey of the lot. Meanwhile, the abutters submitted their request for rehearing, which remains before the ZBA, which is what you just read into the record. Staff has recently been informed by the petitioner's attorney that this survey had been completed, and it revealed that the wetland limits on the property were in reality different than what had been assumed when they were before the ZBA. The attorney explained to staff that the exhibit plan they had submitted to the ZBA was rendered inherently false and that they would need to reapply for those variances based on the new surveyed information in order to make their subdivision plan represent what they had been granted by the ZBA. The attorney requested that the ZBA vote to nullify the variances it had granted, but the ZBA does not have legal authority to do this. With the request for rehearing still active before the board, there is a path available to clean everything up. Staff is advising that the board vote to grant the request for rehearing. Such action puts the granting of the variances back on the table for reconsideration. Should the ZBA vote to grant the rehearing, the petitioner has agreed to immediately withdraw the original petitions, bringing everything back to square one. They cannot withdraw the petitions with the variances having been granted already, which is why the rehearing needs to be first granted by the board. This frees up the petitioners to reapply for their variances with corrected information and also preserves the abutters' rights to appeal should the ZBA opt to grant future variances when they are submitted. So staff is providing a recommendation that the board vote to grant the request for rehearing in order to clean up the process essentially so that the petitioners can come forward with accurate information.
Do you have any questions?
I'll move we grant the petition for rehearing regarding case number 2019-03.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Rich. All in favor of granting the rehearing, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That's 5-0-0.
Down.
All right, next. Robert Slater, Senior Petitioner, and Jeffrey and Samantha Slater, owners, variance under section 3.05 of the zoning ordinance to permit an attached garage 15 feet from the front property line, whereas 30 feet is required. The parcel is located at 9 Beaverbrook Drive in the R2 Residential District, tax map 6C, lot 535, case number 2019-09. Robert, are you here? Come on down. Okay. If the two of you could sign in. Just make sure your microphone's on. Is it bright green?
You hear that?
Nope.
Nope.
Push the button.
Oh, now it's very bright green.
That's the one you need. Yep.
All right. My name is Eric Mitchell. My office prepared the plans that were submitted here for the application. It's already been read into the record for the location and the tax map. The property is 9 Beaverbrook Drive, but it's also a corner lot, so it has frontage on King Henry Court. But the street address is on Beaverbrook. The property is owned by Jeff and Samantha Slater, and the applicant is Robert Slater Sr. The proposal is to construct an attached garage to the existing 3-bedroom house. It'll also have a family room and half bath with it. Currently, there's a 3-bedroom house with a single bath in it with no garage. The actual development of the lots was created in 1982. And as I stated, this is an existing 3-bedroom split-level house on with a septic system. No garage is existing on the site. The proposed addition is 24 feet by 34 feet. And it'll be at the end of the existing driveway and will be 15 feet off of King Henry Court. And that's why we're here for the variance, because front yard setback, even though we don't access there, is 30 feet and we are 15.
Okay. If you could, you have the 5 criteria.
Yes, I do.
If you could read them in one at a time, we may have questions. If you could stop after each one, we appreciate that.
I will do that.
Thank you.
First one is granting a variance would not be contrary to the public interest. Adding a garage addition to an existing house will not threaten the health, safety, or general welfare of the public.
Questions? Number 2.
Number 2 is the spirit of the ordinance is observed because this is a corner lot and there is no existing garage. The variance would not alter the essential character of the neighborhood.
Questions on number 2? Number 3.
Granting the variance would do substantial justice because adding a garage to the lot is consistent with the neighborhood. Substantial justice will be done in granting the variance because any gain to the owner is not outweighed by a loss to the public.
Questions on number 3? Number 4.
For the following reasons, the values of the surrounding properties will not be diminished. Adding a garage would provide more inside storage and increase the value of the existing house, as well as the neighborhood property values would not be diminished.
Questions on number 4? Number 5, please.
Unnecessary hardship, owing special conditions to the property that distinguish it from properties in the area. Denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship because, 1, no fair or substantial relationship exists between the general public purpose of the ordinance provision and the special application of the provisions of the property because the lot was approved in 1982 and is less than 1/2 an acre in size. It's a corner lot. It is a 3-bedroom house and does not have a garage. A garage cannot be placed on the opposite side of the house because of the location of the septic system.
Number 2. Proposed use.
Number 2, the proposed use is a reasonable one because it would provide a garage for storage, a family room, and a half bath. Having additional living space in a garage is a reasonable use.
So, question, it's where it's going to go in, are the trees coming down, or is it going to, okay. So the trees almost kind of block it a little bit from the front of the. Any questions from the board regarding number 5 or anything else regarding this petition? Seems pretty straightforward, yeah. And 82 is when they put the property lines in and all that. So, let me open this up to the public discussion. Is there anybody out there that'd like to speak for this petition? Is there anybody out there that'd like to speak against this petition? Okay, I'm gonna close the public hearing. I think it's pretty straightforward, and the houses in the neighborhood, a lot of them have garages, so I don't see any reason why there's any, to me, I don't see anything wrong with this. Anybody?
One quick question.
Yeah.
There are 2 sheds on the lot. Are they both going to stay?
The older one's gonna get demolished. There's a newer one that we put there about 1.5 years ago. That's gonna stay.
Which one is the newer one?
The one,
Closest to the back or the front, the side?
1 year in the back.
the one that existing shed is inside of the shed, the
Okay.
wedding. It's probably gonna slide back a little bit, so we'll get a permit for that to move it.
And the other one is going to go away?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
I can
That's
know
your
that.
question? All right. Motion?
I make a motion, Robert Slater, senior petitioner, and Jeffrey and Samantha Slater, owners, be granted a variance under section 3.05 of the zoning ordinance to permit an attached garage 15 feet from the property, from the front property line, whereas 30 feet is required. This parcel is located at 9 Beaverbrook Drive in the R2 Residential District, tax map 6C, lot 535, case number 2019-09.
Do I have a second? Seconded by Rod. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 500. Thank you very
you.
much, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Just so you know, if you do, and there's 30-day window in which somebody can appeal this. So if you do start building within the first 30 days, it is at your own risk, but otherwise,
We're gonna start the permits now, so it's gonna be a while.
Thank you.
Thank
good
you.
luck. All right, thank you. Next, James Goodboy, petitioner owner variance under section 3.02 of the zoning ordinance to permit a detached garage 30 feet from the front property line, whereas 50 feet is required. The parcel is located at 85 Patton Road in the R1 Residential by Soils and Aquifer Conservation District, tax map 6C, lot 394, case number 2019-12. James, are you here? Oh, come on up. Before you, I'll have you sign in, but I do want to Yeah, have a seat, have a seat. Talk to you. So, Deb, you can hear the petition can be heard this evening. However, based on our staff recommendations, is that you might want to think about continuing the petition to June 26th. And the reason being is that they found that what you used for your, so basically, how they put it is this. My staff notes that the plan provided by the petitioner is a mortgage survey and not a detailed boundary survey. It is not prepared or stamped by a licensed land surveyor. It also bears a note that reads as follows: the right-of-way shown hereon for Patton Road is based on the line of occupation. A boundary survey of the premises may produce a different result. So basically, the plan provided by you illustrates the location of the paved portion of the right-of-way but does not show its full extent. Also, you based your measurements off the edge of the pavement, but the edge of the pavement does not constitute the boundary line. Now, the town's GIS system appears to show the right-of-way running through the existing house, so that system would not be used for property line determinations. Without a plan prepared by a licensed land surveyor, we really have no way of determining the accuracy of the request. So
Okay.
that your measurements and where you're putting things may actually, if that's approved, say it gets approved tonight and you build that, you may end up being out of, because your measurements aren't accurate, you may end up
Sure.
being out of variance by that. Also, if a petition moves forward this evening, we're basing that, we have, not with this knowledge, you're be asking us to make a decision on not having all the information. So if your petition is for some reason denied, then that it's denied. You have.
You can't come back.
Yeah, can't come back.
Okay, but can I make a question?
Sure.
All right. The situation with our houses is we have one of the oldest houses in Merrimack, okay, at 85 Patton Road. I took a garage down that actually has the slab that had been there for the last 50 years.
Right.
So my situation isn't where I'm just picking a spot and taking a measurement and saying, hey, let's put it here. I'm going by what I already have that's been there. I believe the garage was maybe built 50 years ago, but the house was built in the 1800s. So going by the configuration of the actual house, being close to the road that it is, right? Where that situation, let's say it's off by a foot or 5 feet, right? That is a definitive slab that has already been there and was there before I bought the house, and there was a garage there. And the reason why I took the garage down is because the garage wasn't worth rebuilding it, because it was kind of, it was breaking down. So that's what I was looking. I'm looking to just put the garage back where it was originally over the last 50 years.
So now, when that was put in 50 years ago, that was put in before Merrimack put all the zoning ordinances in place and all of the zoning requirements in place. So if that garage was standing to this day, it would be grandfathered because it was there before the zoning ordinances were
Sure,
put in the
sure.
80s. Where you have torn it down and now you're looking to build that, it's considered a new addition, new structure, even though you're looking to put it on the same pad
Okay.
that it was. So you have to use the new regulations, so to speak, for putting up, property lines, setbacks, and so on.
Sure.
So your variance, in having a certified site plan, that will give you exactly what you're gonna need for setbacks, either on the side, on the front, or what have you. And you may find that when you get that survey plan that, it may be, that pad may be way out of and would have never been built originally.
Sure,
And that might
sure.
change the plans you're doing that. The problem is that if we grant the variance without having the full information, and you build that and you're out of, for a reason, you're violating the variance, it can become costly because then you're gonna have to either move the structure
Yeah,
or take it
right.
back
No,
down
sure.
again. And the last thing you wanna do is build a garage
So
and
I
then have
think-
it to tear it back down.
Sure.
So I recognize that, I understand where you're coming from, but I also have to, based upon this information, and it's come to light, if we make that decision, I don't wanna make a decision based upon not having all the facts and all the information. And that's why I'm making that recommendation. Now, with that being said, you can move forward with your petition this evening. However, if it's denied,
No, I think I won't, but can I ask you guys a question?
Please.
How can you sell a house, right? With what information that I got through, well, who was the surveyor? There was a surveyor there. I don't know why the girl said there wasn't anything stamped, because I actually have, unless I have to go see, I thought that the people in the zoning department were gonna find this information for you by the time we got here, because it was, I'm just trying to find the
Sure.
DBT Mortgage Surveys, Inc., but there was another one that I had that was through, did you see the pictures that I sent to?
I did.
Okay. I know you're saying to me right now that this is not stamped and approved, the DBT Mortgage Survey, Inc.? I
Right.
think it was, I'm trying to figure out who because when I went down to the zoning board, we came up with a paper that had
Well, you
Is it
went
this
down to
one?
redevelopment.
a different surveying company that's actually surveyed the property, because I'm thinking, how could I even buy a house without a proper stamp? I mean, is that legal?
Yeah.
It is legal to do that?
It's in existence, and
Wow, that's incredible. So we work backwards,
sometimes.
okay? That's what we're doing right now,
Yeah.
which is kind of a shame.
Well, when you bought it, the garage was there, right?
Yes,
So there's no issue.
right. No, I see what you're saying, but as far as how they came up with the number of footage to come from the front of the house to even put that slab, but like you said, 50 years ago, they didn't care, right?
And they didn't measure.
And they didn't measure.
Yeah, and the problem, unfortunately, and I'm sure it doesn't help, but Merrimack has a lot of what are considered non-conforming lots, like the case you just heard.
Sure.
A lot of non-conforming lots. A lot of the houses in Merrimack were built in the 60s and the 70s before a lot of the zoning laws were put in place. So it's not uncommon for folks to come in, like yourself, and you request relief from variances because of the way that their lot's positioned, the house is positioned, septic systems, and what have you. And majority of the time, like the folks that were just here beforehand, it's a pretty open and shut case. I mean, it's just, it's positioning of the house, non-conforming lot, all of that. Certainly, and I just want to make sure that if you're going to come forward and you're going to put the time and effort into it, that, you're getting the right measurements so that you don't end up in a situation where, the town or community development is showing up, building inspector, what have you, and saying, okay, this is, you can't put this here. And then
Sure.
you spent time and money framing and putting up and all of that. I'd rather have you do it right,
No, right, absolutely. So will we still be stuck with the 30 feet or the 50 feet? See, I'm confused with
Well,
that.
so so when they do this, my understanding, when they do when a certified surveyor comes out and does that, they'll be able to give an exact, this is the property, here's the exact setbacks, here, so now then you'll have an exact number. Instead of being off a foot or two or a half
Right.
a foot here or there, you'll have an exact number to know exactly how much relief you need to ask for. And that being able to have that information in hand makes it more powerful for you to be able to present
Okay,
your
sure, I
case.
got you now,
And to say,
right.
hey, I don't need 50 feet, I actually only need 35 feet, or I only need, 15 feet from the side of my property. And it's just, it presents it better for you.
Right.
Like I said, we can go through the entire petition, however, I don't want to see it get denied and then have you
No, we don't
have no
want to do
recourse
that.
for doing that.
So what I need to do is I need to get a surveyor over there.
Yeah, and and that would work the best. And what my recommendation would be is to put this in a continuance into the June meeting. That's 2 months.
Okay, can I do that?
Yes.
Do I do that?
And
with-
that
with
way
you?
he doesn't have to refile, right?
So the board needs to vote as to if you're going to continue,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then the
With no
petitioner- with no
further notice to abutters.
So the petitioner can provide the survey
Corrected information.
corrected information between
Yep.
now and the June meeting. essentially staff was saying June to give you time to
Sure,
get
right.
all that done, because if you continue to May and then if you're not ready or,
Surveys are
Then-
getting backed up, so.
Yeah.
So we need to get on that right away. Now, as far as the abutters, we're all set with the abutters.
They've been notified of what's, yeah. they've been
Now, they
notified
can
already.
come in at the June meeting and speak for
against.
or against it. It's
Sure.
just as if you were still here.
Right, I see what you're
And they've been
saying.
notified, so they can come in and they can talk one way or the other,
Right,
and we'll listen to what they have to say.
sure.
But this is gonna mean that you are actually asking for correct information for a variance.
Right,
So instead of saying, I want a variance because it's this, you can say it's because it's this.
And with having this correct information for your variance, if we moved forward with the petition right now and say hypothetically, this petition got approved tonight, you could, if somebody, an abutter, could use the information in this, because it's public knowledge,
sure.
and come back and say that it was approved in error, and that they could appeal
Right,
it.
we just
Right.
need to keep all our ducks in a row here,
Yep.
all of us.
Yep,
Yeah.
Is
so that-
basically what we're doing.
Exactly.
Do I sign this?
Yes, if you could sign that, I'd appreciate
No,
it.
thank you very much for hearing me.
Well, no, and I appreciate your understanding in it. So I'm going to, from the board, I'm going to ask for a continuance for James, is it Goodboy?
Gad boys.
Gadbois. Variance under section 3.02 of the zoning ordinance to permit attached garage 30 feet from the front property line, whereas 50 feet is required. I'm going to ask for continuance to,
do we ask for the continuance, or does he request?
you can make a vote to continue the item
Okay,
till June 26th.
doesn't have to be a request on his part.
Correct.
Okay,
to continue this to the June 26th. I'll give you 2 months. Would that
Okay.
work?
Yeah, that's perfect,
Should-
thank you.
should be enough time.
Yeah, so June 26th, so that the petitioner may get a certified site plan.
Do whatever he needs to do.
And get and adjust, and I don't know, you may even have to end up adjusting the variance, but
Sure.
I'll leave it up to
Now,
you.
do I just bring that information that night here?
Bring it to community development as soon as you have it, and then
Community development.
they know about this. Bring it to community development. They'll tell you what your next steps are, and then they'll make sure that everything gets on the agenda for the June 26th meeting.
Oh, beautiful, thank you so
Work,
much.
work with
everyone.
them.
All in favor of,
I make a motion
you okay? Make a motion to approve?
Yep.
Do I have a second?
to continue.
Okay, so a motion to continue is made by Lynn, seconded by Kathleen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Continue to the June 26th meeting. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Sir.
Thank you very
Have a good
much.
evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and last but not least, Chestnut Hill Properties. They
You're not gonna even
have
make it, Billy.
requested they've requested in their meeting, they've requested a continuance to the May 29th, 2019 meeting, so that will not be heard this evening. So we don't need to vote on that, right?
We do.
We
I'll
do.
make a motion to
Okay,
continue.
All right, can I have a motion to continue?
Second.
And
Yeah, he made a motion.
Rich made the motion.
I seconded.
Any seconded? Slow down. We're getting there. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Motion to,
I'm trying to make it
motion's
before
approved to
7:30,
move
get
Chestnut
my
Hill
eight.
Properties to the May 29th meeting. Last but not least is the, well, is there any questions from staff? Any discussion from staff? Okay. And the minutes for March 27th, 2019.
I move we approve as printed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Okay, 4-0-1. Rod's abstaining. And I do want to congratulate Rod Buckley, who's now a full-time member of the zoning board. Congratulations.
Welcome to the real world.
Yep. And with that, Kelly, is there anything else you wanted to add? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, I need a motion to adjourn. Seconded by Rod, motion made by Rich.
All in
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Good night.